Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy Luke here for our Saturday Showdown picks for this week's Bermuda Championship. What we do in these Showdown live streams, we talk about the weather for tomorrow, any modeling changes that have happened from day to day for our player pool, and of course, our favorite players to target. So, without any delay at all, let's hop right into the weather first off for tomorrow's slate. So, there's a Draftkings slate. We'll get to that here in a second. But first and foremost, the weather for tomorrow. So, today on Friday at the Bermuda Championship, it looked a lot more scoreable than it did on Thursday. Obviously, Thursday morning, some of the worst weather we've seen on the PGA Tour for quite a few years now. But on Friday, that story completely flipped. We had beautiful weather throughout the entire day, winds at a maximum of about 10 miles an hour, not any precipitation at all, and people went low today. The average score was 3 under par, and that's exactly what I expect for tomorrow, especially when we take a look at the weather report right here. They're not going to be teeing off until about 9 a.m. just because obviously less players. They're going to be sending everyone off of the first tee. And you can see the weather early in the morning is going to be absolutely ideal. Not very high percent chance of rain. You're dealing with low winds with gusts up to just 8 miles an hour, which is extremely scoreable. You can see that's going to last the whole way until about midday. Very similar conditions, 7 to 9 miles an hour right here. Slightly easier, slightly harder conditions depending on which wind direction you're going. But when you get to the early afternoon, start to get a little bit of trouble. You can see from about 2 to 4 p.m., you have just over a 50% chance of rain. Actually, the whole way until about 5 p.m., it's about a 50% chance of rain. So in the afternoon, they might be dealing with some showers, which shouldn't make a huge impact on these golfers, especially because it's not supposed to be very windy. You see just 8 to 10 miles an hour right there. Even later on towards 5 p.m., still 8 to 10 miles an hour. So rather than it being tough like it was on day one you were dealing with 30 to 40 mile an hour winds. If it's raining and it's only 8 to 10 miles an hour, that's not an issue at all. They're going to be able to deal with that. They're going to be able to take this place low, if not lower than they were able to take it today, because it's going to be very soft conditions, very receptible greens. So I think that's definitely something to look forward to. We're going to have a lot better scoring tomorrow. Any changes to our modeling I want to go over? First and foremost, just a little bit more emphasis on scoring tomorrow with these soft conditions, with everything we expect in terms of the wind. You're going to see guys take this probably 3.5 under par on average. So you're looking for guys that can take apart par fives. I mean, if we sort this right here by score, you can see a lot of the guys up top are people that are high birdie or better percentage players. I mean, Taylor Pendrick, extremely aggressive, an extremely good ball striker as well. Patrick Rogers, a bomber off the tee, very good at birdie or better percentage. Pierre Malnati is an absolute maniac, right? Goes out there, he shot 7 under today. You're looking for some of those guys tomorrow as well. So let's hop into the player pool, talk about some of those high aggressiveness players, those kind of things that we can target. First and foremost, I think Matt Fitzpatrick's not a bad pick. I mean, he played pretty well today, had a double bogey on the last hole. So that 3 under round was actually a lot better than that. It was 5 under through those holes. Also missed quite a few putts today. He missed 2 3-foot putts. So again, what should have been a 5 under round very well could have been a 7 or even an 8 under round for Fitzpatrick. He's still expensive, but the beauty about that is that his ownership is going to be extremely low. I see a lot of people trying to go to either a Patrick Reed, even spend down for some of these guys in the 9K range, which I don't hate for tomorrow's slate, but they're also going to be chalky. Anytime you have Showdown, a lot of times people try to make a little bit more of a balanced build. Take 2 or 3 guys from this 9K range. You usually try not to spend up for these 10K guys, but in reality, go to the bottom of the board down in the $6,000 range. We have quite a few options we can go to, people that do model well for tomorrow. So I don't hate necessarily spending up for some of these 10K options up top. A few other people I would consider going to, Patrick Reed is extremely aggressive. He's high birdie or better percentage player. Also, the ball striking this week has looked a lot better than the past. So there's a lot of good signs going for Patrick Reed. Obviously, he's the highest ranked player in the world in this field. So I don't hate anything there. I mean, $10,000, he's definitely somebody who's capable of putting up a 6 or a 7 under round. Let's talk about some of these 9K guys I might consider. I think you have to start the conversation with Taylor Pendrick. The guy is looking like an absolute animal today. He's 10 under par. He might have even birdied his last hole. Obviously, still going on right now. Post an 11 under round, which would be a 60. If he holds out somehow, someone let me know in the chat if he holds out, because that would be for 59. That'd be incredible. Hendrith, I didn't think he was the best course fit this week. I did mention during my player poll that he wasn't somebody I was excluding. I have him about 3 to 4% of my lineups this week, which is not enough. I wish I had him in a lot more. I mean, the guy is a bomber by trade, somebody who's more of a ball striking specialist, and he's ball striking the absolute shit out of it. So I'm glad to see that for him. I don't hate going to him on Showdown either. A lot of people obviously going to want to go to him because he's shooting 11, 12 under today. But I don't hate going back to it. He's a very solid ball striker. He's the best ball striker in this field. There's nobody that can even make an argument otherwise. The only person you could potentially even put in the same conversation would be Mito Pereira. And that's a very small sample size, obviously, for both those golfers. This week, though, Mito has not looked like himself. He's been very bad off the tee. The fact that he's not able to hit driver off of those tees is really hurting him. So that's why I kind of skipped over him there, just to go over him, I guess, at $9,600. This golf course is not a good fit for someone like Pereira or Pendrick. The difference between the two is that Pendrick is, first of all, making putts. Second of all, hitting his irons 10 times better than Pereira. So that I would definitely go to Pendrick over him there, but I don't think either one's a great course fit. In terms of these guys in the high 8K range, Migliozzi had a really good day today. I don't know if he's the best course fit. Again, we don't have a ton of data on him. He only has 10 measured rounds in the PGA Tour at this point, but his approach plays looks really good. He's been a solid putter. He's gained over a stroke per round putting, which is obviously unsustainable. He's not the best putter in the world or anything like that. It's not what he's known for. But I don't hate going there. Was very aggressive today. Very similar conditions for tomorrow as what we saw today. Thomas Detry had a much better day today than he had on Thursday. Was actually in the easier wave on Thursday, yet still shot over par. So I wasn't super thrilled about that, but today came out, shot 5 under. So I'd like to see that. Then McCarthy, he's always going to be an option on these showdown slates, particularly when it's on Bermuda grass. The guy can just get so hot with his putter. He can run away with the field that way. I don't hate going there. He's only $8,200. Steven Jaeger's another good course fit. He had a good day today. I believe shot 5 under as well. So at $8,000, he's at least a good course fit there. Somebody who can drain enough putts to make it pay off. Ryan Armour's not a bad pick here. He's only $7,800. I mean, he's a good course fit, right? We got to make sure he makes the cut. So I'll go ahead and mention that. As of right now, the cut line is even par. There's obviously a few people left on the golf course. There's probably a 91% chance right now. I'd have to go check my sims that it is an even par cut. I believe there's 4 or 5 people that have a chance at getting past even par left on the golf course. And every single one of them would have to end with 2 or 3 birdies in a row, that kind of thing, to break that even par. So it's going to be an even par cut line, barring anything absolutely outrageous. Let's see. Mccarthy obviously missed the cut there. Lucas Herbert right now is the 3rd favorite to win this golf tournament. That just tells you how much that these bookmakers believe in somebody like Herbert. He has wins on the European Tour, internationally outside of the European Tour. He's won as well. So Herbert, he's a new player here on the Korn Ferry Tour. Got promoted from the Korn Ferry Tour last year, that is. Sorry. But a much better player than a lot of his peers. You can see that with the steam that he's getting from these Vegas bookmakers. So at 7 under par, he's been good to this point in the golf tournament. And if you want to tail Vegas, which, by the way, is always a good idea, Vegas seems to know a lot more than the public. I don't hate that idea. Bo Hoag might make the cut. So you can see he's +1 right now. It's probably going on right now on TV. He probably either made birdie on that par 5 or didn't. If he made birdie on that par 5, he's a good play for tomorrow. If not, obviously he missed the cut. So I can't bring that up right now. Actually, you know what? I'll go ahead and bring it up. I'll bring it up 1 second, guys. I'm going to see if Bo Hoag made the cut. So speaking, while I bring this up here, just going over a few other things for tomorrow. First and foremost, I mean, some of the guys at even par, they're going to be good people to target because it's a single round tournament. Bo Hoag, by the way, did not make birdie on that hole. So I just wanted to go ahead and check that out. Is probably not going to make the cut unless he birdies one of those last 2 holes. So, all right, back to the player pool though. I just had to check out Bo Hoag. I have him like 80, not 80% of the lineups, like 80% of my showdown for today. So not a very good pick right there. Let's keep going down though. Brendan Hagee, he looks great in day 1. Obviously, it was extremely windy, and he played in the windy conditions and still killed it. He shot 5 under par. He's one of the first people off in the afternoon wave. So for at least an hour and a half, 2 hours of his round, he's dealing with 20 to 25 mile an hour winds. Today went out and shot over par. So depends on if you want to look too much into those stats, you know, from round to round, even the best players in the world are going to have bad days. So Hagee, he's somebody who I loved before the week. Obviously, day 1, shooting 6 under. That was great to see. I think he has another one of those 6-7 under rounds in him before the end of this tournament. So I'll be playing him a showdown for tomorrow. He's a bomber. So if you're trying to take a look at that Patrick Rogers, Taylor Pendrick type of build, he fits that exact same type of archetype. So I like going there. Again, he's a more aggressive player as well. So at 5 under, he has to be aggressive to try and insert himself back into this golf tournament. And I always like to target some of those guys that are so in contention, but far enough back where they have to go out and play balls to the wall. They can't be passive, and they can't be, they have to be aggressive. Let's see. You can go to Mark Hubbard. He's $7,300. He's going to be chalk tomorrow. I didn't necessarily like him coming into the week just because he was chalk. But it's Showdown, right? You don't have to avoid chalk. You can differentiate elsewhere. It's usually pretty easy to differentiate a Showdown lineup. Let's see. You go to Luke Donald, right? So Luke Donald played well in those windy conditions day one, played well today. It's a great course fit for him. It's one of the few golf courses where he's going to get away with that lack of length. And to this day, still a top 5 player on the PGA Tour with his wedges. So you're going to see wedge on about 14 of the 18 holes here. So that's why you see somebody like Luke Donald having the week that he is. That's also why I liked him going into this week. So not going to back down there. Brian Gay made the cut on the number. He's also somebody who's very good on Bermuda grass, also a very good wedge player. Had a much better day today than he did on Thursday, but he was also one of those guys on Thursday who got really hit by those winds. So not going to hold that against him. He is somebody I will consider for Showdown tomorrow. He's a little bit more expensive than I think a lot of people would like him to be. So he's going to be a little bit lower owned, which is always something I'm looking for in Showdown. Chase Cipher, great course fit. Another guy I liked going into this week. Could also use him tomorrow for Showdown. Good course fit, good form, everything you're looking for there. Camilo Villegas, he shot 6 over on Thursday and then shot 6 under today. He was one of my value picks going into the week, so I completely wrote him off after day one. I was like, all right, this guy missed the cut. Moving on. I'm actually deselected him from the PGA Tour app. Wasn't even going to look at his scores anymore, and all of a sudden makes the cut. So shot 6 under today. He's extremely aggressive. Obviously had to be to try and make the cut today. I actually mentioned that during our Showdown live stream yesterday. I was like, he didn't play as bad as it looked. It was really only 2.5 strokes worse than the average in that morning, and had to be aggressive today. So obviously that paid off. We're not going to get that same type of effect tomorrow just because we're not dealing with a cut line. But some of these guys that are even par, 1 under, even 2 under par, have to have that same type of aggressiveness. There's no benefit for them to go out there, shoot 1 or 2 under par when everyone else is going to be lapping them at that type of level. So I don't hate going to some of these guys that are closer towards the cut line. Let's see. Sepp Straka, I don't like the course fit here, but he's extremely aggressive. If you're ever looking for somebody who is just going to take a look at every single pin and try to make every single iron shot, go to Sepp Straka. But that type of strategy also really holds him back. He makes more bogeys than anyone else on the PGA Tour. He's a top 10 birdie or better percentage player, but he's also the #1 player in terms of bogeys per hole on the PGA Tour. So Sepp Straka, you're getting the best of both worlds there. In fantasy, that's actually extremely valuable. When he goes out there and he's able to keep rounds together, he's going to be one of the best scorers on the slate. So I don't hate going to Sepp Straka. I didn't play him in my 4-round contest because of the course fit. And he's a little bit of an experience. Today, he ended up missing 2 putts towards the end of his round to get out of the cut line, and then ended up birdieing the last hole to end up making it. He's very stressful to roster. Let's just say that. Let's keep going down here. You can go to Mount Nutty. We already talked about how he's just an absolute madman. He's going to make a ton of birdies. It's good course fit as well, so I don't hate that. Honest to God, this Patrick Flavin guy, I have no idea who that is. Well, if that gives you an answer of would I play him or not? No idea who it is. No opinion on him. Literally, and he's not one of these Korn Ferry Tour graduates or anything like that. I believe. Yeah, so he's a Korn Ferry Tour regular. So he must have gone to this field on a sponsorship exemption or something like that. Never seen him play before. So I have nothing to say about Flavin other than the fact that he's 7 under right now. Clearly playing some good golf at the very least. He's only $6,700. So I think he could do a whole lot worse. I think going to somebody like a Scott Brown would be a whole lot worse. Scott Brown we've seen for 5 or 6 years now. He hasn't been himself for at least 5 or 6 years. The only reason he's still on the PGA Tour right now is because he won the Zurich Classic with Kevin Kisner. He didn't really win that golf tournament. That was Kevin Kisner. If you guys remember, he chipped in on the last hole from 30, 40 yards to win that golf tournament. That's the only reason we still see Scott Brown, which is, it's unfortunate, right? A team win is the only reason we still see him. You don't want to play him. This Druitt guy, he's also somebody who's a Korn Ferry Tour regular on a sponsorship exemption. He's playing well at the very least. He's super cheap. Curtis Thompson, I don't trust him at all. He hasn't looked good to this point of the year on the PGA Tour. Had a good round today, good round on Thursday, but I'm not necessarily sure he's going to back that up again. Let's see. He's starting to get really towards the bottom down here. So when you start to get to this $6,500 and below range, I'm trying to target guys that are clearly in form, whether they're winning, whether they were coming into the tournament with good form, whether they're riding good form during this event, just because a lot of these guys are no-name people. So a few people that would fit that criteria. I mean, there's not going to be many. You go to Robert Garrigus, he's only $6,200. He's at least playing well right now. Now these guys all down low, even the ones that made the cut, it's a hard play. Johnson Wagner, he is somebody that I played going into this week. He's a shorter hitter on the PGA Tour, he's only hitting about 285 yards. He's good with his approach play, and he's decent on Bermuda grass. So that's why I played him. He's only $6,100 going into the week. So he was as low on the board that I was willing to go to. He made the cut at the very least. So you could go there. Let's see. There's got to be at least one or two guys down low you could go to. Ben Crane, we've seen him. He's a PGA Tour pro, actually. We saw him at the PGA Championship. Let's see. Has he played since then at all? No. Played at the PGA Championship last year. Got in as one of the PGA professionals. He was good at the PGA Championship. He nearly made the cut there. Also somebody who just, again, we haven't seen, but he's clearly playing well. He's played well when he's played on the PGA Tour in the past. So I don't hate going there as a value pick. Let's try to find one more of these diamonds in the rough for you. Not a huge JJ Spawn guy. He's not a good enough putter for me. Davis Riley. Okay, so this is a good one right here. Davis Riley, he's $6,800. He's an extremely good ball striker, somebody who's extremely aggressive, was one of the higher birdie percentage players of all the Korn Ferry Tour when he was playing last year. Was also able to take home a few wins, which is always what you want to see from these Korn Ferry Tour guys. Obviously, there's some of them that are extremely consistent. People like a Scott Kucheski, who's actually been a PGA Tour player before, who got his tour card last year from just putting up lots of top 10s, lots of top 15s. Then there's a guy like Davis Riley, who missed a crap ton of cuts on the Korn Ferry Tour, but won multiple times. I'd much rather have the Davis Riley, particularly in Showdown, where you're looking for those volatile performances. We're looking for that one round where you can go and put a 5 or 6 under round. He's that type of golfer. He has that volatility. So I like going there. Now let's talk about a few fades. So now that we've gone through some of the guys that we will be playing for tomorrow, let's start at the top and let's pick out 3 or 4 guys that we sure as shit will not be playing. First and foremost for me, I think it has to be Patrick Rodgers, right? So Patrick Rodgers, he shot 7 under today, shot 3 under on the first day. Somebody who I don't like the course fit here, but more importantly, somebody like Taylor Pendrith, if we take a look at his advanced metrics, particularly on bent grass, Bermuda grass, not bent grass, he's decent. He's a gainer on Bermuda grass. But when we take a look at Patrick Rodgers, he's a significant loser on Bermuda grass. On every other surface, he's a major gainer, particularly on bent grass, where he's one of the best putters in the entire world. So for me, I'd much rather fade Patrick Rodgers. I don't think he's going to continue that type of putting momentum going forward. He's going to be extremely popular. I mean, this guy was already popular going into the week, and now he's 10 under par. He's near the top of the salary range, and any of these guys that are higher price tag are always going to have higher ownership. That's just something that happens based on the psychology of the sport. People that think that a higher price tag means that they're safer, that they're a better play, and that's not always the case, right? So Patrick Rodgers at $9,200 is somebody I'll see myself fading. Let's see. Matthias Schwab, I'll also be fading. He lost over 4 strokes. I mean, we don't have the exact metrics, but he had exactly one putt on Thursday. I saw someone on Twitter trying to kind of figure out what the shots gained putting stats would be, because you can typically get at least close when you know somebody's greens and regulations number. Also, when you know their total amount of putts and foot of putts made, you can make a pretty good approximation of somebody's shots gained number. And the number they had for Schwab, at least theoretically, was more than 5 strokes lost putting in one round. That is horrendous. Today he went out, he made everything. He shot 7 under par. So it's what type of self is he going to bring on Saturday? Is he going to bring the performance where he's 3 putting every other hole, or is he going to go and make everything? To me, I do not like that inconsistency there, at least from a guy farther up the board. If Matthias Schwab was $6,700 or $7,200, that kind of thing, I'd be much more willing to play him, right? Somebody I'd be willing to take a chance on. But when you're buying up and you're using a spend up option like this, you want him to at least be relatively safe. You don't want him to be a complete flyer where you're like, oh, I hope he brings the putter today. So I'm not going to be playing Matthias Schwab. That Thursday putting performance was one of the worst of the entire year for anyone, not just him in one round. Let's see. Another fade. Russell Knox is going to be a fade. He's typically somebody who's good in windy conditions. You can see he's just 2 under par. He was one of the chalkiest plays for the 4-round slate going into the week, and as of right now is not paying off that price tag. Just because he made a cut does not mean that he was a good play this week. At 2 under par and nearly 22% ownership, a guy who's only made 5 or 6 birdies to this point. I'm glad I faded him, and I will not be playing him going forward. Somebody who, again, is better in windy conditions, and we're expecting relatively benign conditions tomorrow, and particularly on Sunday as well. So I'm not going to be on Russell Knox. He's also likely to be chalked just because people played a ton of him going into the week. That sentiment on him will likely remain. See any other fades we got? I don't hate Alex Smalley. I think he might get his first top 5 or something like that here. That'd be pretty cool. Let's see. Danny Lee I played this week. I'm not going to fade him. That's probably it. So that's all we've got here for this Showdown live stream. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you guys leave a like on the video. If you guys are new to the channel, if you guys enjoy this type of content, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything in the future. Tomorrow at 5 p.m., same time as today, we're going to cover our Showdown slate or Sunday. Sorry. It's a little bit different on Sunday just because we have placement points coming into things. So there's a lot more game theory involved. So make sure to stop on tomorrow before you make those lineups.